You're welcome. I always listen to you just in case.
So, okay, now it sounds good on my end. So, hi, welcome to Discussing Tabletop now that my sound isn't broken and everything isn't broken. And something about this show just means that everything breaks just a little bit as soon as I want to try to start it. It just, every time. It's like clockwork. I can't have like a simple, easy...
Just this show? First, not every time you turn on your computer?
It's not... Okay, look, I'm gonna admit, I usually have a few issues when it comes to anything, but this usually feels like it's worse. Like, I'm sorry, like, we're pretty good on the Crimson Queen and getting it, like, at least me top screen within the time period. Like, I'm like, top screen 20 minutes late rather here. And weekday stuff, a lot of life stuff gets in the way. That's less Bork.
That's not tech.
That's not tech, yeah. But hi, welcome. It's the last show of the year. Wow. It's December 30th. And we got one more day in 2023, and then we're in 2024, and I will not remember that for like a month and a half.
I'll remember it within 6 months since I have to write dates on everything in my for work, but it will still be a very painful 2 weeks as I continue to write the wrong year.
Yeah, for me, it's just not writing it as much. So I'll just be like, wait, what year is it? Oh god, no, it's not this one.
Oh, what makes it so much worse is it's like, okay, so this invoice was from last month, so I have to write the last year's date, then I have to write this year's, and that happens, I think, which just makes it so much worse. Right? It's like, okay, this one's 12, 20, 2022, or 2023, and this one's for 2024, 1/6, 2024, and it's just like, blah.
Yeah, so we got a short docket today. We're just going to talk about 3 topics that are news-ish topics, and then we've got a deeper discussion topic that's just going to be basically we're going to talk about the overall gear in tabletop. But how is everybody doing? Worm, how's your day going here? You ready for chat?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm recovering from COVID still.
Mm-hmm. And Momo, you're doing good here? Or?
Doing great, chat. I'm still lost in the depths of Alan Wake 2. I'll be out maybe one day.
I think that's not going to happen.
When I crawl back to Baldur's Gate. And then in a couple weeks, crawl into Yakuza Infinite Wealth, the longest game known to man.
Oh my god, that'll be so long. Look, I'm not going to lie.
Because I 100% every Yakuza game I play.
Sorry, let's do this.
Today was a rabbit hole that, like, I began going down that I was like, oh my god, I forgot that just from basic knowledge from before, I forgot this was such a hell rabbit hole. I'm sorry. Just the setup of the Changeling in World of Darkness is just so funky and so multi-layered, and it's like, trying to express that and anybody understands that in an easy way? Hell no.
I actually really like Changeling, how they're done in... It's very straightforward in the...
Chronicles?
So, funny enough, no. It's the World of Darkness done by... It's the World of Darkness one done... So, basically, it's kind of Chronicles. It's Chronicles 1E, which is still technically World of Darkness.
Oh, the 1E one, yeah.
Yeah. But the one done by Onyx Path. I love that one. They made it weird again in number 2.
I'm not gonna lie, yeah, like, just trying to understand it all was just me trying to understand it and then trying to tell it to people. Just, oh god, my brain today. But so let's start by talking about this, because this was an interesting topic that I would have not seen if it wasn't for another person that's a content creator talking about it. Because apparently no one talked about this product. Like D&D was just like, oh yeah, they didn't mention it, which is so weird. Like, Wizards didn't mention it, didn't advertise it, but the thing is, it's a product that is related to them and is branded to them, so why don't you ever advertise or mention it? And it's, Vampire Cosmetics has a Dungeons & Dragons collection now. Granted, like, I am not the person for this, but I'm sure there are plenty of people out there that are. And I'll paste the link here in the chat.
I know a couple people buy this stuff.
Yeah. So it's just kind of. Is it par for the course nowadays that like this kind of thing will slip through the cracks with them, or is it just
So I think
something
there's
with going on?
I think there's a very, very high probability that this slips through the cracks because, a bunch of people are getting fired right now.
Yeah.
It's
That-
also
that-
the thing. The website that does all D&D news is D&D Beyond, which is hellish to navigate for news.
Yeah. I'll agree on that one.
Yeah, there's that too, but
So,
kind of.
they Yeah. They apparently also don't say a lot on their Twitter either.
No, they don't.
So it's like
perfume or a makeup line.
You know, I
both?
was
It's a
in-
makeup line.
it is a makeup
It's
and
cosmetics.
perfume. They have both.
Yeah.
If I was into makeup, which I'm not, honestly, some of the cases are pretty cool.
yeah. Like they've got class palettes.
BMG makeup case is really cool.
Yeah, and the like lip gloss that's like potion bottles. They went for style
Pretty
and
cool.
substance. It's really neat. I'm not gonna lie. This is not for me, but it's a really cool kind of set of things. So yeah. I mean, also, I have no idea about the prices. I'm sure there are more premium makeup products, but I know makeup is expensive. So.
Makeup is very expensive. Well, good makeup is very expensive.
Yeah, I don't know. It's neat stuff. If it's the kind of thing you're looking for, hey, now you know about it. I'm sorry that, Wizards and no one else talked about it, except for, a couple other content creator people that, ran into it and were like, oh, hey, I can make a, announce this here. But, Wizards says nothing. Not, again, yeah, and I agree. D&D Beyond's a terrible site to, use because it's technically not their main site. But they're using it as they are for their news, and also it doesn't navigate well for its news. Every time I see it, it's sort of like it gives me something from this thing from this week. Oh, but this thing from the beginning of the month, and then this thing from 3 months ago, and then this thing from a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, what's the order of all this? That's a different problem, but it's a problem I can complain about.
Anyway, now that I've opened up this tab, I'm gonna have makeup ads on everything I go to for the next week, maybe month. One time I bought something for my sister off of a website, and man, I got makeup ads for a year.
Mm-hmm. The algorithms just don't understand everything.
Man, it's almost like I visited it once and then haven't again since.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything else I can say about this, since I have no expertise on makeup or anything, so...
Honestly, the only thing really to say is just that, it's weird that, nothing was said about this. I mean, I've heard a lot of other things about it, about weird stuff they've been doing lately, even the stamps.
Yeah.
So I feel like this had to do with both the timing, because it's holidays and advertising is kind of weird around holidays, and probably just that a lot of people are getting fired, and so people are just eh.
It is also makeup, which is a niche product for a lot of people still.
Yeah.
I feel like you could sell it to the cosplay community. It's very
Yeah.
And certainly there are communities and parts of the entire thing that would go for it, but I can see that, yes, it probably, in comparison to a lot more stuff when it comes to role-playing, it is much more of a niche, But, again, it's sort of even if you don't advertise it, in depth, I would have at least expected, a short something somewhere, we've partnered with them, to hand out our license to this product, check it out, at least one shout-out, even if it's just a sentence somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
silence.
basically what they did with the stamps, if I remember correctly. It was one little thing.
well, the stamps were announced on the actual U.S. Postal Service website. To
Yeah.
be fair.
Yeah, they didn't. I don't know if they said anything about it. It was the website.
I don't think Wizards said anything about it, no.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wizards continues their quietness as they usually do. So, but yeah, the link's there. If you are joining us on YouTube, you can check out the link in the description below. If you want to check out those cosmetics, it's for you. Let's see here. Let's continue on with that. For an interesting Kickstarter that's in a collaboration with Paizo, that's a Look, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what it is about this time of year and products that are just, like, vastly outside their normal thing. But apparently, there's a Wayfarer compass that's being put out. That's an actual compass, with Paizo being a Pathfinder accessory, but also by, like, whatever it is, I guess Type 40 is the group that does that kind of thing. Paste this chat here. Kickstarter for it. I can also give the article from Paizo where they talk about it. It was up on there. So this is it's an interesting thing, but this is the exact same kind of thing as the makeup, but Paizo's talking about it. Not gonna lie, I just
collectible.
Yeah, I just thought about that too, but it's just like, you know.
I mean, $80 for a collectible like this is pretty normal.
Yeah.
I have always wanted a compass.
Mm-hmm. So you get a cool one. Man, this would have been awesome for, like, Buccaneers or something. I could have, like, a compass and been like, here's your coolest compass, which I originally wanted to do stuff with, but then all the crazy shit happened in the normal story. And a lot of side things, and I'm like, fuck
that
I don't
game
do it anymore.
did kind of go a little insane.
Mm-hmm. It was a harder game. But nonetheless, I mean, like, this is bad. It's funded with 16 days to go.
Oh.
Yep. It's cool looking. It's very interesting. Mm-hmm. I guess. I don't know much about Type 40, but apparently they're pretty good, I guess. Or a good name.
I'll do that thing where I pin it and or just leave it open, and if I remember it by the time the Kickstarter's not if I remember about it, the Kickstarter's not over, then maybe I'll buy.
It happens sometimes, you know.
Okay, so Type 40, I'm looking at their Crater thing on Kickstarter.
I actually got a Christmas bonus. It was crazy.
Nice.
I did not know that.
They're out of Australia, and they make real world stuff from pop culture, basically. So that's their special.
They're prop makers. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that's a pretty good place to be in. And, you know, if they've won awards for it, that means they make really cool props. So, hey, there you go. Yep. The Pathfinder compass. Really cool prop, if you're interested. Mm-hmm. And the last of the just topics for today. I'm going to do the article because the Kickstarter isn't live yet. But Atlas Games is doing some solo puzzle books based on a number of things, including some of their own IPs, like Gloom. And I think Cryptid Hunt is another one of their games and stuff. So I mean, they're expanding their material based on the stuff they already have. I'm not sure if it's going to be more like setting connected, or if it's going to actually, like, you know, be kind of related to the game at all. They're puzzles, so that's kind of hard to say.
It's pretty much just a puzzle.
Yeah. Probably just in their, like, weird settings that they've come up with in their part of their games. And, you know, hey, stories are simple. We'll just add a little bit more simplicity or less simplicity. I don't know. But it's a neat little thing. If you're interested in some puzzles, and, you know, Atlas does some good stuff. So, I mean, that was my shout out for them. I don't know if I have anything other to say then. Keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
it's a quiet week. I'm not gonna lie. This is
It's
very
been
quiet.
a quiet week. There's not much
is
going
literally-
on, chat.
No, literally, the week to month after Christmas is the quietest week
Yeah.
we'll ever have because everyone pushes advertisement before Christmas, and then afterwards they give it like a month because they spent their entire advertising budget, and B, no one's buying anything in.
So, well,
Indeed.
you know what we can get into? We can get into our big topic for today, which was suggested by Momo, which is a great one, which I didn't think about, which is we have talked about a lot of good and bad throughout the year, but I feel like, yes, the bad stands out because certainly some very bad stuff has happened over the course of 2023. But
Namely,
what are our positives of 2023? You know, that's a good question.
I just realized my brain didn't process what I said until after I said it.
Mm-hmm. It's fine.
Whatever that guy's name is. Something Cox.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, I'll go last because I have a few ideas, but I want to try to maybe not step on people's toes about what it is. So, which one of you has a good list of topics to talk about that are the good things that you think happened this year?
Well, I
No,
think
I'm
the
pretty
best
sure it's
thing...
on
I'm pretty sure
both
that...
Momo and I.
Yeah, it's Baldur's Gate 3, you know? The
Yeah.
thing Tantus still hasn't fucking played.
Look, you know, it didn't like my computer.
It
And
did. Your computer did not like to run it.
I probably could have made it like I think I could have gotten it to run if I really dropped down a lot of like stuff with it, but I was
If you
like,
turn the lighting settings pretty much off, it's like runs like a dream.
yeah, but it was also at that point in time where I was like, that was when I was beginning.
You're
to
gonna
assemble
get a new
the
computer
one.
anyway.
So I was just like,
you
fuck it,
might
I'll
as
just
well
wait.
hold off, right?
Yeah, and you know, it's just taking a while longer because of a lot of little details. So it's whatever.
You live under a rock for the last 2 years and somehow don't know what Baldur's Gate 3 is. It is a D&D video game where you can do basically anything.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's within the rules of, you know, Dungeons and Dragons.
And a little bit of video game rules.
Yeah, and some video. It does a very good job of blending the D&D rules to a video game.
Agreed.
And it lets me throw goblins.
Yeah, like they definitely took like the fun of like doing dumb shit in a D&D game. Oops, I shouldn't.
Anytime I
It's
play,
been 5 minutes, right?
anytime I play, yeah.
We're
so are
19
we
minutes
past
in.
the,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
we're
we're
well
19
past the
minutes.
demonetization zone. We're good. We can say
Look,
anything we
again,
want as long as it's not against TOS.
both of them I put in for appeal and they were approved for decency, so I don't know if it's what the flag is. You know,
No,
it could
that's
be that
honestly,
early on.
honestly, I know that one time it was. I'm like, I said it within like right away, so
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that one probably is. But the other one I don't know because I don't remember. Yeah, but no, it's the weird stuff. Like, I mean, even like though it was like. Wasn't that controversial, but it was a little controversial, just the fact that they allowed the nudity.
Well, it did allow nudity in it. That made people angry. Twitter got mad.
Yep.
Then
That's
they moved on to the next thing they can be mad about. Probably
No.
fucking pronouns in Starfield or something.
Look, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
That just feels weird anyway because, you know, I'm sorry, Twitter's very horny. I
Well,
don't
here's
know why
the
they're
thing.
angry then.
Twitter hates fun.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Twitter is an echo chamber of people just yelling about nothing at each other.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, but it's also just like,
You know,
if you don't want
They-
it, turn it
you
off.
can turn it
They
off.
literally have an
And
option.
hey, they have nudity. In patch 5, they added dick physics too. So,
Wait, really? I didn't
yeah,
know that.
if you run around, it moves, you know? Apparently
So,
that was
I
on
mean-
the top priority list to add to the game.
I mean, to be fair, I haven't played around with any of that because I've
I
mostly
have it
been
turned
streaming
off.
it, so
I have it turned off. I don't really care enough to see it.
Just feels. I mean, it's like it's whatever. If you want it, you want it. If you don't want it, you don't want it. You know.
Yeah, it's an option. It's like
Yeah.
Cyberpunk has it. No one freaked out. Suddenly Baldur's Gate's got it. It's worse than the bear scene. Yeah, another thing people freaked out over that's completely optional and also hilarious.
Yeah, but no, it's the fact that they have stuff like the bear thing that you can do. Where it's just all like, yep, nope, this is totally. I like
It's
how they
a
took the ridiculousness.
it's
of
a
a lot of
conversation that would happen in D and
But then they
D.
also kept it semi-serious within the world too, where it's just all like, you know, like oh, well, like my favorite thing was when I saw this, like oh yeah, no, they literally have voice lines for like everyone for if like. It's like, oh, why are you naked? Oh, why is the person behind you naked? Oh, why are you all naked?
Does a really good job of feeling like a D&D game, and also simultaneously a video game. And goddamn, I've played Act 1 3 times now, and I still see new content.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't understand is just how it can be different so many times. It's like, what dialogue tree caused this?
There is apparently, at least as of a couple months ago, there's like dialogue that's still completely unheard for Astarion.
Really?
Yeah, no one's found it yet, according to Neil Newbon.
Wow. Jeez. So yeah,
there was a dialogue for Karlach found recently through data files where she breaks the fourth wall and addresses you directly, the player.
Does anyone know what gets to that?
No one has found out what triggers that dialogue yet.
Okay.
That's a weird one. But so yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 is like Larian took it up to like they basically raised it a couple of notches from what they already do, which I've got to admit, as much as I have complaints about like Divinity Original Sin 2, it's fun, it's good, it's got an actual story, even if though everybody's an asshole in it.
The story kind of falls apart around, Act 4, but...
Yeah, I think later acts.
I still need to play Original Sin 1 and 2.
Original Sin 2 is fine, but it's rough going back to it.
I'm sure at this point in time, especially if you've done Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
But
just the way the skill system works.
I mean, I still need to play Divinity. Still need to finish Divinity Evoke.
Well, is there any?
I don't remember.
Yeah. So after Baldur's Gate, because that's a big one that I think we all agree on.
Everyone kind of knows what that one is.
That brought the essence of 5th edition to so many people.
It's a once-in-a-generation game.
Yeah. Because it's both capturing a really good game for a lot of reasons, but I feel like it's also very significant because not to say that there isn't a lot of crossover between video games and stuff, but certainly we have now, because of the video game, a lot more people experiencing the essence of what 5e and role-playing is. Yeah. We, the tabletop industry. Not that Wizards are trying to sabotage things in weird ways, but fuck them, the game will still be there. I think that's a popular sentiment that I do agree with. The game will still be there.
I'll be honest, I actually, in some ways it's a blessing, because it actually caused a lot of people to divert to other things.
Yeah.
I think I agree that the OGL debacle, as bad as it seemingly was at the time, has caused something better for the long-time health of the community that is good to happen. That I don't know if it would have happened on its own very easily, but we couldn't... There was a lot of reliance on 5e, unfortunately, and D&D, and it's always been there. And think of how many things and products still were connected to the OGL, and the material in there, that was provided. Freaking Pathfinder 2nd Edition had some stuff left over in there still, too, And their system is nothing like any of the other ones. They made their own system, but it had a little bit of that essence still in there. But we're getting that separation. We're getting I don't know if I can call it like a new emergence, a new renaissance of like change, but we already have a big community, and having us basically invent more, spread out more, that is good. I think that's a overall positive of the year. What else do you two think would be some good things that happen this year?
Good things happened this year. Square Enix announced a Final Fantasy tabletop role-playing game this year.
Oh.
It's
Yeah,
based
I think
on
Based on 14
about it.
specifically,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
14 is also every Final Fantasy game because it references every fucking Final Fantasy game.
It
Right?
does.
Wild
Yeah.
Strife is like you can get his clothing in it.
I do agree. I think that's a good one because it does expand out into a lot of communities.
We also don't get a lot of Japanese tabletop games in the West.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's actually something we covered a little bit ago, which was some of the first ones being translated into English.
Yeah, I would have to like look up through all our notes and stuff to see what they were called off the top of my head because we do talk about dozens and dozens of RPGs over the course of the year. But it was interesting to see that like
Was it Sword World?
could have.
I
know
familiar.
Sword World is like the most popular Japanese tabletop RPG, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Sword World that it was getting a translation. And it's like, it's this thing that, like, there are deep connections to Europe, honestly, but we need that connections in other parts of the world, you know? Certainly, like, Europe, I think, you know, if someone was going to do something in Australia, you know, that would be very easy. I just, like, more people from stuff from, like, South America, from Africa, from, you know, these parts of the world that have different views and different ideas about how to put together role-playing games are good because we have variety then, and having the ability to share them between the different places. We have that ability between the English-speaking and other countries in Europe very easily. A lot of those things get translated back and forth, you know, but Japan, yeah, it's been separated out. Sure, we kind of send some stuff in, but we just don't get stuff out, and they do have a budding tabletop industry of their own that has a lot of interesting ideas.
Yeah. Where D&D isn't even the #1 seller.
No, it's not. D&D only just released in Japan.
Yeah.
Fairly recently.
Oh,
Yeah, 5th edition only just
it was
released in Japan.
Weird. Okay. I thought it was...
Because
just
it was
not
never
selling.
translated to the Japanese before. Until I think a year ago.
I think it's the same kind of thing, like, you know, we talk about, like, the markets and stuff for, like, a lot of other tabletop, but you don't get translations as easy a lot of times.
The Japanese market is very much a for Japan-only market.
Yeah.
Things that are not Japanese tend not to do very well in Japan.
Japan is surprisingly xenophobic.
Yeah, it's a very homogenous cultural society. Western products don't do super great over there. But in a weird way, Japanese products do amazing in the West.
Yes.
It's a weird...
Because of that isolation, we have a fascination with Japan.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of like they even opened, you know, over all these years, they still have a tendency to have more cultural isolation in a lot of ways, even with their westernization because of, you know, Meiji era and then, you know, everything that happened with World War II and our, you know, the constant forcings of westernization to them.
And then, you know, the tech bubble, which exploded, but did place them as a economic world power and a cultural world power. So. And now they just export a lot of anime and decent to bad video games. I hate JRPGs, but you know,
I think
pretty well.
I think I take JRPGs as individually actual Japanese RPGs like, rather than the whatever derogatory term.
Too much grinding.
Yes, grinding can suck. I agree. But yeah, so it's good that we're getting more globalization. That's a good sign. I wish to see more. It's one of those things I do like when we see RPGs that are exploring different cultures and different areas of the world. I always think are interesting, different historical periods, because there is a lot that we can get inspiration from in our own world, our own mythology, and build on it. You know, there is a very certain type of mythology that your traditional D&Ds and Pathfinders fall upon very often. Granted, like, I think much more than D&D, at least Paizo tries to capture stuff from other areas of the world, having inspiration in a lot of their world for different global
They try,
pieces.
and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's mildly offensive.
Yeah. Agree. There are some fine lines I think they walk sometimes.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Tui has a lot less of the culturally insensitive stuff, but Wani is definitely a product of the mid-2010s.
Yeah. We still are learning. Again, everybody's learning lessons, understanding better, and kind of things, and becoming more educated as
Yeah.
we go on in time. So, globalization, good. Honestly, I think there are definitely some good things about the industry and stuff that I have to say. As much as it's still huge, it's big, they're kind of annoying, I think that now we've reached, like, things have finally opened up back to where they were. Like, what I mean is, I went to PAX Unplugged, and this is the first year I didn't need a vaccine card. No one was checking that kind of thing. Granted, like, it's both good and bad, but at least it feels as though, like, things have returned to pre-pandemic. And I think, good or bad of it, I think that is a positive overall, that we are trying to become, move on to, regular existence and get beyond, like, the damaging effects that were on our society and psyche as a whole. And that's a good sign of it, theoretically.
Theoretically.
Doesn't mean you don't have to look out for them. I mean,
It's
they always,
no.
yeah, they always warn you to be careful about stuff, as but
I mean, yeah.
Things have gotten genuinely better.
Basically, yeah. I mean,
so it made me reflect upon that a little bit, because that definitely felt like we're moving in many positive directions.
COVID is much more treatable now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, COVID is probably just going to be like a disease.
It's gonna just be like a
it's
yearly thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be cold, flu, COVID.
I mean, and it's called the natural path of most diseases, where it gets less deadly over time.
Yeah,
Because people used to die from, like, a common cold very commonly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no. So a disease doesn't want to be deadly because
No, it's usually very bad to kill your host.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Generally, you want to multiply and then
Yeah.
move on, and then so you can infect that host again later.
But things are getting slightly better,
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
What other kind of positives do you two think that we have going on?
So on one of mine was, well, I thought this was mostly supposed to be RPG related, but
I can do whatever. Let's be real.
Tabletop RPG. RPG is probably like the core of what we talk about a lot of times.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry, tabletop and RPG. Yeah, actually, one of mine was going to be tabletop related. But one of my things from the past year, the World Builder's Handbook from Traveler. Love that thing.
I mean, like, it we've had a lot of good books, I think, out this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't say that every book or every product's been perfect, but certainly I do feel like it hasn't been a bad year for people that like a good tabletop book and want to see something that helps build upon the worlds.
I mean, the reason I like it, and I'm honestly, I've purchased the book's price forever. It literally just gives you rules for generating any piece of a star system you want with relatively scientific accuracy. Like, basically, Traveler has always had this, like, way to complexly build a system. But it's really been outdated because it's based off knowledge from, like, the 80s or even like older, like 60s. I don't know when it like first started, but it's like, so it was based off. But now that we have a lot of more knowledge about exoplanets and exostars and all of these things, where we've like done a lot more studies on these, it's like we actually have an idea of what other systems would look like, And based on that, they actually went and they did a lot of research. I can tell because like I already knew a lot of this stuff. But then they also broke it down into a way that people could use it. Honestly, if you really wanted to, you could use this for any sci-fi system.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's good. You know?
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing.
I think it's a very interesting to have a book that is like kind of cutting edge scientifically in terms of the way it tries to help game masters generate space. I just find that very fascinating.
Momo, do you have one? I have a couple.
We got this year 2 Fallout 2D20 books. We got the Settler's Guidebook, which is a setting book for more of the like character origins, more items, more factions. They added reputation mechanics, and then we got the Winter of Adam quest book, a full-fledged level 1 to 21 adventure.
Yeah.
That is very good. Having read through some of it, is fantastically written.
It's both good that we are, you know, it's a good system from the times we've had experience with it, and I'm glad that we're getting more development for it, you know, and I'm glad it has the popularity to continue.
Yeah.
I think along those lines, one of the things that I was thinking about is, because I reflected upon my time period of playing role-playing games, honestly, in the 90s. So, I remember the 90s. And something about role-playing games in the 90s is we did get a lot of branded role-playing games, like we did now. But a difference was, a lot of them were kind of bad. We're getting good branded role-playing games nowadays. Like Lord of the Rings ones, the Aliens ones, Fallout. A lot of these branded, like ones that are like popular IPs, or IPs that are like actual things in like other parts of media, they're getting good role-playing games now. Where like, it's sort of there was hit and miss in like the 90s ones, and they weren't maybe terrible, but most of them just were there kind of as the 90s RPGs. I think, you know, they just didn't hold a candle, and also like, you know, 90s RPGs not that. We weren't making good RPGs back in the 90s in comparison. You know, we hadn't learned a lot of lessons. Not gonna lie, that's a thing to say. Many lessons need to be learned to get to now. So
yeah, definitely.
I think we're at a good spot for that kind of stuff. It's sort of like everybody talks about, you know, like, oh, this book adaptation, this comic adaptation, this TV show adaptation to a movie. It's very simple, or a video game or something. It's an adaptation. And getting good adaptations of something is something you really want. And we're at a place in time where, at least in the tabletop world, I think, we're doing better adaptations in a tabletop sense for a lot of things. And it's good. It's more than, they've been good lately, mostly. I'm not going to bust on them, but it's more than just another Monopoly with something branded on top of it. Cough, cough, USAopoly. Because they're going to do that again anyway. You know, that's what they do. It's fine. But we had a lot more of that in the past, too.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of always been the case, though, for tabletop RPGs. I feel like people have always put a little bit more effort into it, because then the idea is it's people to generate their own creative ideas and things. But I do like that we're getting a lot more right now. I think it's interesting to see that, like, a lot more companies are taking that step in licensing or creating their own tabletop versions of stuff. I think that is very cool. I mean, yeah, I feel like people have always put a lot more love into it for tabletop role-playing game type things, just because of the way it works, and it's to make people build their own things. So it's like, yeah, of course they're going to be like, they need to be thought through a lot.
I think it's the thing about using a pre-made world that I do enjoy, because it's sort of like, I don't mind building an entire world on my own, but that takes a lot of work and thought and stuff, and you know, like, you think about it very deeply. where I could also take a pre-made world and just do a version of it that I feel like making changes or creative decisions that I feel like are appropriate to it. And honestly, you could be inspired by a lot of those places. We get inspired by the media we enjoy and see.
Adaptation is easier than creation.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can still be just as creative in an adaptation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
you have the base framework there. You don't have to do all the groundwork.
Yeah. That's why there's so much fan fiction.
Yeah. And I feel like I think that's another reason that you have a lot of boom of that, because there's plenty of people that have probably some good ideas, but they don't have enough ideas to make their own world. But they're like, I could take this and do some. If my ideas fit very well with this world, you know, I could do a version of it, talk to someone and work it out. You know, with creative people and come up with something cool. I have another one I thought of. Do either of you have anything else?
I've thought of 5.
Okay, you could thought of 5. I was bad at thinking of 5, so I thought of just a pile of them. And
yeah, no, pile's pretty good.
Yeah. One of mine is Flamecraft. Technically, I got it like at the end of last year, but I also haven't had anyone to play it with until very recently when I played it with Pandas and stuff. Very fun. I like that board game. It's adorable. It's fun, and I want to play it soon.
It was a fun little board game. It was good. I was glad to see it in person then at PAX and Pug and be like, I played that.
Yeah. No, I actually think this would probably be the second PAX because it basically released in like end of November or like middle of November last year is when it like finally got finalized and made. And when they shipped all of them out for Kickstarters, and when when they started selling them on their website and stuff like that.
Alright. How about you, Momo? Do you have another
you
one?
go, Francis. You do one.
I did have one related to Magic the Gathering. This is something that I thought about pretty hard, because I was like, there's a lot about Magic that I'm not very positive on.
Oh, I know. Believe me,
there was something that I thought about that I actually do find positive. I've had my complaints about Universes Beyond, but I do believe the products they've been putting out for it have been actually really good quality. At least for, like, the mainstay products. Leaving out Secret Lairs, they're weird and kind of different out there. But, like, the Lord of the Rings stuff, the Commander decks they put out for various things, like the Doctor Who ones, yes, it was last year, but, like, the Warhammer ones, you know, a lot of this stuff that has been mainstay products for Universes Beyond, I think, you know, they're, the One Ring stuff, that's separate from the entire product as a whole.
That's a marketing campaign.
That's a marketing campaign. But, like, the actual product lines, I think they've actually done pretty good at them. And it's been, like, that's the thing. It's like, I'm not a big fan of the concept of it, but them doing it well, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I might not be a fan of this. This might not be for me. But if you're doing it well and pretty good and making good products related to it, I can't complain that much. And that makes me happy about that, you know, that you're with that kind of thing. They're doing that product line right, at least for now, you know, and that's a positive, I feel like, in the Magic world. So that was something that I've thought about for this year, because we've really been seeing it with, like, the Lord of the Rings full set and stuff like that, and if they keep up with this kind of stuff, yeah, I will be at least accepting of their decisions, you know, more than anything. So. That was my thought pattern on it, of something that I see as a bit of a positive. You know, at least there's quality in the products.
Yeah.
Momo, how about you then? You got more?
This year, very early this year, we got a role-playing game for my all-time favorite franchise, Avatar: The Last Airbender.
You did.
That was this year. Avatar Legends. It is an awesome role-playing game. I played a bit of it this year. I love that it's entirely like a narrative song and dance back and forth between the game master and players, and that there's not really a lot of hard combat mechanics. Everything's kind of very fluid and not dice rolly. It's a very narrative system. It is powered by the Apocalypse as its base rule set. And it's really awesome to see people still like this franchise, even though Korra was a little meh when it was released. Although I think if you watch it now, I think it's a little bit better.
I didn't hate
retrospective.
Korra, but again, like I'm also very. I've always said it. Like it takes a lot if you're within a genre I like to be annoying a lot.
Mhm.
So I think that's why. Like I do agree. There were some issues with Korra, but like there are parts of the story I really did enjoy.
Issue with Korra is that they never knew if they were going to get another season, so they couldn't commit to any plotline.
Yeah, I can see that. Like each season.
Also,
was kind of
by
something.
season 2, Nickelodeon was like, "You're going to go on our streaming service," and that killed the show completely.
Yeah.
So I just straight up thought it got canceled. I never watched it until like 2 years ago.
It was
like,
very
they did
hard.
That, and then they did that, and then they like made no announcement of it.
They just removed it. There was no announcement, no nothing.
Yeah. Worm, do you have another one? Yeah.
Yes. I did that one. Oh yeah. Flame. No, I already said that. Pathfinder 2e revised. I do kind of like the whole shift from the OGL and the whole fact that they kind of are like reinventing their own thing with their new license. I think that's I think that's gonna open up things a lot for forward and stuff. And I kind of like some of the rule changes. I've like barely started to learn about the differences, but like I kind of like it. I think they did a very good job with it.
I do think the player core, GM core have done a good job of updating things and organizing them in an interesting way. I definitely agree on that one. It's a positive update as much as like it was an update you probably haven't worried you really didn't need. And really I want to wait for the player core 2. Because there was a couple of classes that are not in here that are in the original one. And I'm like, oh yeah, they're going to be over there for their 16 base classes from the first 2. They split things out a little bit better, I think, between those 2 books. Also, so I feel like it's good. It's positive. It's gonna it's not really major changes except for some like names here and there and little bits of touch-ups in various places, most of the things.
Yeah, but I feel like they did like revise certain things that just made like just based on what I saw, like just certain things were just made better. Like things were buffed where they needed to be mostly.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think they had some things that were like, this ability is never used because it kind of sucks. Okay, we'll give a little buff to it. Now people might choose it, things like that. Yeah.
Yep. I also kind of do just like the little introduction. As weird as it sounds, I actually really love the idea of the mechanic, and it's something I will adapt probably into everything I make now, assuming it goes well. If it flops, then I won't. But and that's the whole like in between or not like in between, but like the non-combat section adventuring stuff, which is like like the exploration mode or whatever exploration turn.
Yeah,
I forgot.
Like
I keep forgetting what that's called.
It's like exploration mode or something like that. I think it's called something else, but I do like that too. And I was thinking about it like when you were talking to me when we were about to go to the dungeon about it. I was like, that really was a great point to do it. But it made me think about it that there are points in the story you will get to that might be helpful to use to kind of like use something of that with first edition in a way and maybe adapt it. There will be points later on in the story that actually could be interesting to do. And so
the whole idea of it is just things to it's a way to like clarify it's basically just a way to clarify what your characters are doing in between encounters, which is why I actually think you could use it in the current spot, but I also think it's like it depends. Because it's like, you're preparing to cast a spell, which means like you can't get, even if you get caught off guard, you cast the spell right away,
Mm-hmm.
Or you're constantly casting a spell, which is more for cantrips. So it's like you're always detecting magic. So it's like it's something you're doing in between, or you're searching for traps. So I don't remember like how it worked, if it's like you got a bonus or something if you did stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, it was a whole thing, and I'm like, oh, actually, this is a really cool mechanical idea just to clarify what people are doing in between like in non-combat situations, but also not quite, free downtime
Yeah.
situations.
Yeah. There are times and a place for that kind of thing, and it will help add to the story and depth of what's going on a little bit. And if it is successful in the way it's implemented, and definitely I think that is a thing to see if it can be in an adventure very well, and I'm sure it just takes a little bit of learning curve. But yeah.
Yep.
Do you have any other Momo? Because I think I have one more I can think of off the top of my head.
Not tabletop related, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
So you go ahead with yours.
I think I will shout out one that we haven't mentioned, but I think was actually a positive, even though it didn't quite be as successful as people maybe wanted it to be. That's D&D movie.
Honestly. That was great. It was awesome.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was. Yeah. I want to watch that still. I heard it was very good. Like D&D.
I haven't been able to sit down and watch the back end of it. I'm about like 2/3 of the way through. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and spend another like extra half an hour just watching it. And remember to. That's the also thing. Remember to do it in my like schedule. But I really liked what I've seen so far. I'm excited to finish it up. That was the last like month I've been slowly working my way through it. Sometimes it's hard to like sit down for 2 hours just and be doing something else. And I feel like a movie should have at least a little bit of paying attention to it,
Yeah.
Rather than watching something while doing something else.
Oh, it takes me like 2 weeks to watch a movie because like I'm always like I sit down and watch it, but I have so little time to where I can sit down and just watch something that like I break it up into chunks and it takes me like a month. Where I'm like, oh wait, I gotta watch for like 30 minutes today. Oh, but I have to do that like 3 times, and I find time in like 3 times in a month.
But I think it was very good. It's a good product. It's like, I think it's well and beyond the original D&D movie trilogy that they did.
It's not hard, to be fair.
I know those weren't great movies.
Movies aren't good.
The theatrical one was just kind of bad, and then we had the 2 straight-to-movie ones. I don't know if actually either of them got a theater release.
No, I believe they were all direct DVD or VHS or whatever the fuck they were released on.
Yeah, because the only one I remember is the original with Wayne's brother was in theaters, because I went to see that.
I'm sorry.
I know. Look, I've wasted my money on plenty of movies over the years. I'm not gonna lie. It took a long time to learn those lessons because, I went to go see Blood Rain in the theaters. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've only seen that movie on TV.
It's not good.
No.
We had probable alternate plans we should have done at the time, but someone was like, no, it'll be great. Let's go see Blood Rain. So, I've been there.
I thought of one just now,
Mm-hmm.
In 2023, we were spared the horror of a Rebel Moon tabletop RPG. Because, God, that movie was fucking awful, dude. Holy shit. That was maybe the worst movie I've seen this year.
I've seen people talking about it, but I've not seen...
so bad.
I think I haven't seen an actual review of it other than yours so far, what you said to me about it, but I don't think anybody wants to review it, I feel like.
I didn't pay for it because someone else did, and I felt like I still lost money because my time was wasted.
Yep. It was a thing, but no, I think that at very least, I am happy that there is the idea of, because again, like we talked about the adaptation stuff, but there are actually some very well developed worlds that are out there. The Forgotten Realms, as much as I like to make fun of it occasionally, is still a pretty good, well developed world and has a lot of interesting stuff to it. Not gonna lie.
I like Forgotten Realms. I like playing in Forgotten Realms.
Yeah, I think there's very interesting things about it, and so having things that, like, Baldur's Gate 3 is a great media for it, but we do not see things like, we see books, but we haven't really seen, like, TV, movies, really in a lot of these worlds, and this may be a point where we're getting some of these things.
Well, maybe
Um,
the movie did lose money.
I know that.
It came out at a really bad time.
It made money. It just didn't make nearly enough.
Well,
to be considered
it
successful.
in Hollywood terms lost money because it did
Yes.
make its marketing
Well,
budget back.
Yeah, it's marketing budget. Yeah.
I thought it did.
No, I think it
I thought
only
just-
barely broke even with its normal budget, and then it's because it needs to make double its budget for marketing.
Marketing is stupidly expensive nowadays.
I believe it broke even technically, but because with marketing factoring is technically it fell short.
I don't
Which is a
think
shame because it was a
that's
very
how
good
it
movie.
works.
Yeah, with movies you need to I think make double your
I know,
budget
no,
back to
I
break
know,
even.
I know. Double your budget back is considered successful, but I don't think that's what that. I think marketing is included in that budget, and I think it made profit. It just didn't make that double,
Yeah.
which is why it was considered a flop.
Oh, sorry, you need to actually make 3 times your budget to be profitable as a movie.
That you're right. 3 times. Yeah.
3 times your problem, of course. You know.
No, I literally heard this somewhere last week, which is why I'm like, was it 2 times? I thought it was more. Yeah. No, I
It's
think
bullshit is what it is.
It is definitely bullshit.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know if we'll get we'll certainly not get one with as high as a budget. Because Paramount is Paramount.
Well, yeah. No, I definitely know. I
It-
mean, I looked
it-
into it recently. It didn't
We are getting a
make
TV
much
series at least, because that's already
Yeah.
been announced.
I just, it's that kind of makes me sad about the entire thing because it's sort of like, it's they're going to blame everything but the people that were responsible for that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it's gonna get. It was bad timing. It came out tail end of COVID pandemic. Things were still locked down. Then the horrific PR that D&D had
So
came out at a really
Oh,
bad
wait,
time.
apparently there's a spin-off television series. in
Yeah, that was
development.
announced. I think earlier this year.
Yeah,
I don't know what
and
it's
you're
about,
right. It did just fall short of its break-even.
Yeah.
budget, so
which is
technically
a
didn't-
shame.
Yeah.
mhm.
But hey, worse
Yeah.
movies have gotten sequels, so
True.
She spent double the cost it took to make the whole game in marketing. The marketing
To
is just so expensive.
Yeah, to be fair, when it comes to that, I do also know that, there was a lot of hesitation from people, because I remember a lot of hesitation before it came out, because so many people were like, the last one's, all the other
Yeah.
D&D movies were so bad.
Mhm.
And it's like they didn't have high hopes for the D&D movie.
Yeah. No, there's a lot about it that just wasn't really great.
I didn't have high hopes about it when I saw it.
No.
Yeah.
It is just a sad thing that because of that it's the kind of thing that I feel like we know better now. You could do the same thing and be a lot more successful, but they're not going to take that chance,
Yeah,
and that's
no,
unfortunate. And then it might just end up being another of the original and just kill the entire thing.
They
because,
want safe money.
yeah,
Yes.
it's the unfortunate thing. Save money is good.
Yeah.
I mean, we have seen a couple other. Go ahead.
I assume that the reason they're probably doing this and the reason it was probably announced is because it probably got a lot of views on Paramount Plus, which is why.
Yes, it did. I think it did very well on streaming services.
Yeah, and yeah. So I think that's probably what happened. is they realized how successful it was then, which is why they decided to do it probably.
2020 to this year is kind of going to be fucked for movie analytics because theaters were closed.
Yes.
This is
And
like
then-
And movies that lost a lot of money still did really well when they were on the streaming platforms. So it's
Yes,
going to be that
and-
weirdness of
Yeah, the box office is going to be a lot stranger because
Yeah.
it's I'm like, oh, thank goodness I don't have to go to a theater to see a movie
Yeah.
right away anymore because so many things are coming out simultaneously on streaming services.
I think it's also the fact that I don't go to theaters as much anymore. It takes a lot for me to get out to a theater at this point in time. One, because my local theater shut down because of everything that happened, And two, because it's sort of like it's organizing a group of people that like, yeah, it's fun to see a movie with them, but I could also just see the movie and then chat with them later on.
Yeah. I think the one movie I'd go see is the new Godzilla movie, the Godzilla -1, because that's in I think American theaters. I think it's like the first Japanese one to be in American theaters.
There have been one before, but usually, like, I think there's the first one that's...
Shin Godzilla might have been in American theaters, too.
But I think there's usually a delay. This is the first one that's coming out at the same time it's coming out, yeah. So
it's, like, apparently really good.
Yes. So, yeah.
And
then I'll be trashed, and I will go see the new Kong X Godzilla movie as well, because I'm a mega loser.
Be worse than plenty of the 60s.
It won't. It has a baseline of what it will be. I'll get what I want out of it.
Yeah.
Speaking of the like Kong versus Godzilla, I heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard that in the ending in America is that Kong one, and the ending in Japan is that Godzilla one. They actually had two different endings.
Technically speaking, it's a little different than that, actually, but it's a little bit more complex than just what that sounds like. But I do remember there is something to that, but it's not for the reasons you think. That. Yeah. It's not because yay Godzilla wins over Kong kind of thing. It's not quite that.
I don't know why Kong is so tall. That's what I want to know.
Well, in the original Kong vs. Godzilla that Toho did, it's because they just made a different monster that was called King Kong. In the
it's actual King Kong.
In the one done by Legendary, I don't fucking know, because they decided to make the monkey big.
Changes so much. It's very funny.
Like Godzilla, at least they're usually different continuity, with size, but like. Kong's just a big monkey. He never was that.
We're talking about Godzilla. If you do have Apple TV, I do really recommend I think it's the Monarch. I really recommend that show. Yes. It's really good. It's fantastic.
I describe that one, just as a side note here, as I feel like it's the human story in a monster movie, but it's also done really well. Yeah.
Very good.
Which, we do get those in monster movies. We do get good human stories, but most of the time we don't.
We know what we're there for. We're not there for the humans. We're there to watch big monsters punch each other.
Big monsters, more of them would be nice, but still having like a really good of that like actual story you'd have beside it, and some monsters occasionally. It's pretty good. I like it a lot. Yeah.
Like in Jurassic Park, you don't care if people are.
I don't know. I personally really. Cool. Yeah, I mean, Chris Pratt really was the main focus of those movies. And I think he should have even played the dinosaurs, personally.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna say this about it. Like, I think that this kind of statement holds true for the Jurassic Worlds. The original Jurassic Park, the original one. I think I could be like, those people. I had some good stories and characters and stuff like that.
We can't sit here and be like Jurassic Park is all great when the original trilogy had a fucking scene of a velociraptor going, Alan.
I forgot about that.
I only said the first one.
Look, we can't pretend that there's only one good Jurassic Park movie, okay?
There is only one good Jurassic Park movie.
The rest are kind of bad.
I
did like Jurassic World one.
I also thought Jurassic World was
sequels to those are...
No.
Yeah, I do agree. The first Jurassic World was fine. It was fine. Like, also like the Lost World sequel, I think that was the original sequel. It was much worse than the first one, but it wasn't really that bad. Like, it at least had like most of a book behind it, because they used a bunch of it, even though they're not nearly enough of it in their version of it. But then the third one was like, this is just a story we're making out of our asses. Good luck.
It was.
The story had fun dinosaurs. I mean, like literally. I mean, like I've seen them. And
Jurassic Park 2.
Cool. I don't remember anything about anything else.
Jurassic Park 2 was a way for me to watch Jeff Goldblum do things. That's all that movie is.
Yeah, that's true. The Adventures of Jeff Goldblum.
He's the only one who keeps coming back to these goddamn movies.
Look, he's like, sure, why not? I'll do it.
He's got enough money.
He'll just do it. He's just, it's fine, I'll do it.
There's a side tangent because we're talking about, I'm just gonna slide into Alan Wake here. There's a bit in Alan Wake where you travel through evil, spooky land, and they whisper Alan all the time, and I keep thinking back to the Velociraptor scene every time I hear it.
His dream sequence where he's
Yeah.
like dragging a
It's
velociraptor
just like
talking to him.
Alan. I just think that there's a fucking Velociraptor here in spooky New York, whispering to the spider.
Yeah. 3 not great. Any of the Jurassic World sequels?
I've only seen the first sequel, and I've only seen half of it because I left the theater.
I saw that one. I went through it, and I was just like, well, that was a movie. And then I haven't seen the newest one because I'm just like, well...
There are 2 movies I've ever walked out of. The second Jurassic World movie and The Rise of Skywalker.
I'm going to say this here. Having sat through the entire movie of The Fountain, I will not walk out of any movies. Because I sat through that. The Fountain is bad.
I couldn't.
The Fountain isn't necessarily bad. I think The Fountain is Oscar bait. It's artistic stuff, Oscar bait. And they advertised it as this cool time travel movie with Hugh Jackman, like, always trying to find this girl through time and going on adventures and trying to, like, find his love and stuff. And it's not! It's not!
Nice.
It's got him in Space Tree or something, and I don't know, and it's like a metaphor for Buddhism or something, and I don't know.
Yeah. No, I get it. I sat through the entirety of Lady in the Water. If I can do that, I can do anything.
I don't know. I couldn't do Rise of Skywalker.
I have high tolerance, and it's unfortunate sometimes. I'm like, I really should just say no to this.
It is the only Star Wars movie I've still not seen to completion.
Part of me is also like, I did spend money on this, technically.
Yeah, that's really
fair,
what it comes down to. Yeah.
Why didn't we go see the other movie? Because someone wanted to go see the fucking Fountain. God damn it. And we're like, yeah, why not? We'll go see the other one later. No, we should have seen it. It's just like Blood Rain all over again, except
it's like
less...
Blood Rain. I feel like Blood Rain was a better movie.
I think it was better than The Fountain, even though it was terrible. It has at least had monkey prison sex.
Yeah.
Where, she's in a prison and, just jumps up monkey-wise on someone and is supposedly having sex with them.
I will say, my taste is so fucked up. I have seen every Resident Evil movie.
I might have seen all those, too.
They're not good.
No.
But
Anyway.
they are watchable.
True. So, any more for 2023?
Nothing tabletop related from me.
Yeah.
My fifth is the Crimson Queen.
Hey, that's a good one. We
bro.
should watch that.
Honestly, I am having a whole lot of fun.
Our opinions are
It's great.
completely unbiased.
Well, no. Like, I'm actually having a lot of fun in that game. I think it's very interesting.
I enjoy it a lot. I like that for 2 sessions I got to sit silently because I'm a wizard.
Uh-huh.
And Cell does all the talking. It's very nice. I
Cell
don't have to talk.
Cell does a lot of talking.
Cell hasn't let me intimidate anyone yet.
I want to use my 11 intimidation on someone. But no, I'm not allowed. I gotta be civil. I can't threaten people.
Yep. No, I think Crimson Queen has been fun. I think my comment is I'm glad that I managed this year to get Buccaneers to an actual ending point, and we finished the game successfully, good and bad in the game.
Hey,
and then
it ended.
It ended. And now that we have Crimson Queen, I'm very glad I've taken to heart many of the lessons in that came about because of that. Because I learned a lot. It's that thing that you always want to learn, and I learned a lot on adaptations for doing False Shackles in the Buccaneers of Shackle City. So still working on it. and I'm glad that people are having fun with the game. And I'm feeling palpably like the game feels a lot better, like with the team. Like, you know, yeah, I think you and Lynn are a little quieter side, but like you put in stuff when you do pretty well. So you know, we're working on it. It's fun.
Yeah.
That's
Lynn
good.
needs to stop falling asleep, but otherwise,
It's really funny though.
It'll be probably after this, but probably
Yeah.
next session maybe. You know, the Christmas season's, the holiday season's done.
Holidays will be over finally.
Yeah.
yeah. I think she fell asleep twice in like the past like 4
Yeah.
sessions.
Look, only one of you made a deal with the devil and hasn't collected on it, and I'm totally going to have to use that against Cell.
When's that gang of children gonna show up?
They are off doing evil stuff probably until Cell tries to look for them, because that's probably his storyline or his character storyline if he wants to choose to go that direction. If not, they'll probably become a gang of their own. There are plenty of gangs in the streets of Corvosa. There'll just be another one that'll grow up together and become probably even worse because of the trauma that they had under Leon. You know? But that's up to Cell if
It's not my problem.
if Lucien wants to go looking for them. You technically rescued them, but, you know, the only one that should have actually said something about it hasn't said anything.
Nope. I don't care about those kids.
Yep.
Yeah, they were my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did what I wanted to in that building. I killed a man. And I left.
I wanted to go back for the dog, but I never did.
Yeah, we should have. We left that dog. We lost out on the experience points of that dog.
Look, that dog probably ate children.
But I would have loved to animal handling the dog and make a friend.
You would have loved to have fixed its problems. Look, you know, it can be reformed. It's only eaten a few children.
About the
Besides,
taste.
I just have to turn its tastes from children to adults and then sick it on people.
Oh,
It can still be mean and nasty. You just have to train it to be the right.
yeah. That's true, you know.
Yep. So.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance, and I feel bad.
It happens.
Yeah, I think that's you know, my Wednesday games have been good.
Yeah.
You know, the ending of Skulls and Shackles, getting into Carrying
Carrying Crown. What year is it? Jesus
Curse of the
Christ.
Crimson Queen. With,
You're giving me PTSD, man. Jesus.
Curse of the Crimson Throne with Crimson Queen. You know, has been pretty good. And I'm like, it's one of those things. Is like I know how I know how the story's supposed to end up officially, but I'm curious how your direction will take to maybe either alter that or, you know, have it stay the same. I you know, that's kind of the thing to say, like, sometimes. Because certainly, yeah, your version of Skulls and Shackles sort of ended up around the way that it normally does, but I feel like it technically went a little bit different towards the end.
We did have a world tour.
Yeah. So, definitely interesting how you'll take the direction of the story. Much less world toury story.
Oh, God.
Honestly.
Don't give Cell a boat ever again.
That's probably the best. Anybody else have anything else to shout out then for good of this year that has been remarkable things in 2023? I guess if we want to go beyond tabletop, do we have anything to shout out beyond that?
I mean, the obvious Alan Wake 2. I've never shut about that for the past month.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, there were a shitload of really good indie games that came out this year that you should check out. Cocoon, there's that Indian cooking one. I think Dave the Diver was this year.
Dave was this year. That's when I think, did I get Dave the Diver then? I think I did.
Very good games. Like, I think it was my favorite indie this year.
You mentioning that, it's like I used to always keep up with like indie games and like the hot ones and like what's going on with them. And I just realized the past year I have not.
Oh, didn't Dredge come out this year too?
Dredge also came out, the Eldritch Horror fishing game, and Dredge X Dave the Diver came out. I think
it did. Did Darkest Dungeon 2 get its official release this year? Or was that late
I
last
don't
year?
know if it's officially out yet.
I think it is officially out yet. I think it is officially out because I've seen some stuff on it that they already had some of their more.
It came out in May.
Okay, so yeah, that came out this year, and that was technically a big indie one. I really liked the first one, and this one's very different. But having seen playthroughs of it, I'm like, I wouldn't mind at least doing a little bit of playthroughs of it. It is much more roguelike than the original, but still. There've been a lot of great, big name horror. Honestly,
This was an amazing year for horror.
Other than just Alan Wake, I mean, we had Alan Wake 2. We had the Resident
Evil remake, Dead Space remake.
Dead Space, yep. Those were both.
And of course, we got the best horror product, Silent Hill Ascension. Konami going at it another time with the butcher knife to kill my favorite franchise.
Yeah. Konami, you do things.
They're a company.
They're a company. But, yeah. So, I definitely think, beyond Baldur's Gate 3, there's been a lot of good...
This was a great year for game... Well, this is a great year for game releases. The game industry, not so much.
Yeah, there's plenty bad in the game industry, and there has been some bad games definitely here this year.
Yeah, I feel like that's been great for like small and indie groups, but it's been terrible for like AAAs.
I mean,
for the
we did get both the Gollum game this year.
Oh yeah, we did get the Gollum game
and the King Kong game.
Well, we also got the same company also made a really bad Walking Dead game in 2023.
I think I saw someone play that.
I saw Ray play that.
That's right, it was Ray that was playing it. It was just... That was a game.
Was more functional than either Gollum or Kong.
Which is really sad. There were some shitters this year for games, too. Like, for big name groups, like AA, AAA kind of level of stuff, and they just did really bad jobs. Where you'd expect more of that of, like, crappy asset flip, indie people.
In the wise words of Jeff Keighley, I think we need to please wrap it up. It's getting late. In 2 hours. Alright, Baldur's Gate 3, you get 30 seconds for your speech. That's what you get. How dare you win an award?
How dare you win an award? Need time.
Those fucking awards were terrible.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. At least the award show's better than E3.
Hey, E3's dead. So show some respect. How dare you?
Too bad. I'm gonna just twist the knife a little bit more into their grave.
I like E3.
It was fine. I think it evolved in terrible ways, but I think earlier on it was a lot better. It kind of like it had its rough patches, but I think there were definitely some more decent years. But I think in the later years it just wasn't competing with the way things were going.
I've mentioned Alan Wake a lot on this podcast tonight, but I'm gonna say the one thing that'll sell you on it. There is a direct quote from one of the characters that is just "fuck the government, we have bull cutters." That's just a line I really, really relate to.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you can watch Sam Lake do a silly dance, and he's a wonderful man.
Anything else any of us want to shout out? I think I'll think for a moment if there's anything beyond tabletop, because I think I've hit up my major tabletop components. But you have anything else, Worm?
No.
Okay. Anything else on your end, Momo?
Shout out to VTubers being really entertaining.
Honestly speaking, it's like one of those mediums that I'm like, I think it's a fine one to develop, and I've always watched people for many years that have been both on camera, and I've watched plenty of people that don't show their faces on camera, and the VTuber and its technology, I think, is a great way for those people that don't necessarily want to be directly on camera, but want to still do something that's more interactable to do it,
Before making my dive into VTubers this month, I truly did not know how horny people could be.
Look, not gonna lie, I've occasionally watched H.C. Justin.
Oh yeah, I mean
And
Justin.
he has, I can tolerate him for sometimes, but sometimes it just goes so far and I'm like, I'm gonna have to take a step away. You've gone too horny.
Oh, geez.
I'm sorry, man. You've gone too horny. You know, that's a one from years ago that I still check him out occasionally. You know, I've got a lot of those people that I still follow for many years now that don't check out very often. When I do,
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's not too horny.
2023, 2022 and 2023 did things to people, man.
It did.
I'm playing Resident Evil Village.
It's very blamable on this entire thing. Third person.
Yeah.
did
Look at Ethan Winter's dumb white generic face.
I saw
The most generic man alive.
I'm not gonna lie. I saw BioRan's version of Ethan in the game, and it's just a blank face.
It's really good.
It's just this black void where his face should be, and it's really good because he's in all the cutscenes. Then, like, shout out to BioRand being a thing because that's like
That's one of the best randomizers you can get.
Yeah, it's the true essence of a goddamn randomizer drawn to like the maximum degree.
I do want to say he does technically have a face.
He does have a face, but it's a very forgettable face.
Yeah.
I could not tell you what he looks like, and I've played Village like 4 times.
I couldn't describe it, but I could kind of maybe picture.
I'm gonna guess he's a blonde white man.
He's a blonde white man. Yeah.
Figures.
Blonde white man.
It is a very.
Is he blonde or brown hair?
I think dirty blonde.
Dirty blonde.
Yeah, it's
dirty blonde might be the way to describe it. You know.
Like in one of the pictures, I think it looks like super blonde, but then I think if you like see the other word.
Yeah. So. Yeah, randomize has been a really cool thing to get into like, this year. I think I've enjoyed getting into that. You know, I've been liking, you know, visiting a lot more of the interesting tabletop stuff and things like that. So I think it's been a very interesting and nice year. I don't think I really have much else to shout out, but I'm
my offer still stands, Tantus. If you ever want to do one of those tabletop things on Fallout, just call me in.
Mm-hmm. Maybe. I definitely have a list of...
a walking Fallout encyclopedia.
I definitely have a list of like tabletop stuff I want to do at some point. To figure out. I just start organizing them and like, you know, figure out how much I want to do and all that stuff. And maybe that'll be my big thing for the new year. You know,
I want to start streaming role playing games this year.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Again.
Yeah. Look, I have a couple other things to do, like you know, figure out how to extract audio and make an actual podcast form and sign up on the podcast things for this show. You know, so I can actually, like, you know, that might be a better way to
help with that. That doesn't actually sound that hard.
It might be easier just to record the audio.
I know how to record my audio. I just have to figure out with my setup how to record.
Your setup's weird and breaks all the time.
Yes.
I do want to say, literally an option in the thing I set up to record.
Well, we'll have to experiment with that at some point. I'll then have to sign up for a bunch of stuff and things like that, and make some shorts and all that kind of crap. But that'll be future.
Yep.
Anyway, why don't we go over briefly our week in tabletop, and then we'll end it for today, because I think that's a good place to end it. That our adventures in 2023 have honestly, it could have been a lot worse.
Could have been.
You know, I'm on the opinion of this.
It could have been 2020.
Yeah, could have been 2020.
Yes, definitely.
Year where I gained like fucking 30 pounds because I got to do nothing all year.
Mm-hmm. So, how was everybody's week? Did anybody do anything last Sunday?
Point to Joe, unless you talked about that already.
We're 2 weeks off.
I don't remember when that happened. I'm gonna be real. This month's a blur.
It's every other week. We went 2 weeks off for the holidays, so we're going to be back next Sunday.
Yeah, I should be on that session.
Tomorrow or this week after.
Anybody do anything on a Monday?
No.
Tuesday?
No, I'm being real. My game ended. I don't remember when it ended, but it ended.
We, of course, had Crimson Queen, where if you missed this week's episode, it was all about meeting with with the Shwanti people and learning about this horrible things that's happened to them and basically, assisting them with recovering the body of someone. Hopefully, prevent a lot of
This one actually makes sense for us to be involved.
Honestly speaking, Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and we got in our first real fight. Didn't feel like it's level 1.
Yeah, we actually fought things.
This was one of the story points that was in the story that feels very important. But yes, having 2 of your characters be people that are either, born to the Shwanti or adopted in the case of Ada, did actually make a lot more sense to be there.
It's like, I know criticism on the game, but it is really like, we just showed up and they're like, hey, level 1 shitters, go do stuff for us.
I literally criticized a lot about, like, I talked to Tim a bit about this, where it's just like, I really criticized the way this thing started. You killed your one plot
That's
hook,
kind of crazy.
and then they kind of expect the party to stick together. And I'm like, if we weren't like role players who know how the game works, and you're like a new GM trying to run this for the first time, I've had players who will just be like, I run off in this direction because my thing's over, so I want to go and do this thing. And
I want to go home.
Yeah,
Stuff
like that happens.
There's certainly dumb. Yeah, there certainly might be a way to do it, but yeah, I understand that, like, it's a difficult one to figure out, and I'm like, I didn't try anything too fancy because I already realized that, you folks were, fine with that kind of stuff.
Having not read ahead, because I don't know this module, what I would have done, and I have no idea if this dude shows up later, just have Lamb be the necromancer guy.
Well,
but I don't know if that guy's important for later or not, so...
The thing is like, it's his son, though, so that does actually link into some stuff, the necromancer guy.
That guy might have more of a reason not like us. Two of the party did defile that corpse.
That corpse was defiled, yes. So, there certainly might be some thought to that, and some, opinions related to that. So, we'll see how the entire thing goes with that, with the, defiled corpse and all, and him. But, no, I feel like there are some interesting story points that exist within this first adventure, but there are definitely some, points that it's very hard to deal with, and I agree, the transition from point 1 into the point, the next part of it, I'm like, this is kinda hard to transition.
Yeah, it's literally, you kill your plot hook, and then you have to take something the plot hook owned, and then try to return it, and then that leads you, it's like, there is a couple specific things that it's like, it requires your players to do, which is not what you want.
No, they do help a little bit with it, I will say, because if you try to sell that off, people will tell you, hey, this is the queen's thing, she's looking for it. I will not buy this. And you're level 1 people, you don't know anybody that's willing to fence it, that kind of thing.
Give it the benefit of the doubt, it is a 3.5 adventure that was adapted to Pathfinder.
Yeah.
And then re-released a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was re-released, and I've heard it's gotten a lot of praise, and I'm actually starting to see that now. But it's also just all like, man, that is one of the worst openings I've ever seen.
It was a rough opening, yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's probably out of the 3 that I've had the best of the openings that I can think of. Right now.
Carrion Crown's opening is ass, to be clear. Yeah. Buccaneer's opening is literal pain and suffering.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking about. Those 2 are not great openings.
Let me put it into perspective, Worm, because you weren't in that game. So by the book's rules, because in the first 3 sessions of our Skull and Shackles game, I didn't succeed a single roll. By the book's rules, my character would have been executed, and I would have had to roll a new character.
Yeah. According, you are press ganged into service, and once you're press ganged, you have to make checks or they like do horrible things to you. And I basically skipped over a lot of that to make it work. And
Yeah.
it's
Jumping was not fun.
Yeah, Skulls and Shackles opening is rough.
I mean, all I know is that I do want to run a Pathfinder 2E adventure path for when I stream. And I just know, like, I've already started, just from all the complaining I've heard, I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna have to buy all the books and read through all of it and make sure it will work before running it.
2E stuff, at very least, I feel like, is a lot better. You know, they learned a lot of lessons. Maybe not every lesson, but they did learn a lot of them in 2.
Yeah.
By the time they get there. Because, again, like, Carrying Crown, the very start is pretty good. But there's a lot of stuff that leads you from point A to point B and the end of the entire thing, which doesn't work very well. Like, getting you from, we all show up to a funeral, to, we're all checking out a haunted a prison, kind of doesn't work great. It sort of does, you know, and then, of course, the other adventures are just, I don't know where the fuck they go there with that one. That's the horrors of Carrying Crown. But at very least, this one is just, it transitions to, we're still in the city, more stuff happens in the city. You know? That's at least a little easier of a transition point here. I think.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm very happy with Carrying Crown Crimson.
Candace, you need to stop.
It's that C word at the beginning. I did run a lot of Carrying Crown.
I need a trigger warning, please.
It's in my brain so much because it was something that, you know, I did run 3 times technically. It sticks in my brain because of that. But yeah, the negatives happen. There's more checks, and then you eventually get thrown overboard with the ship. And the thing is, it compounds the negatives very badly. And I think that's one of the problems with that with Skulls and Shackles. So. I again, like, yeah, there's some problems with the opening here, but at least it's I don't think it's the worst. I think it's just the land connection was pretty good. The leading to, you meet with the queen and she's like, I have a job for you during this time period. It kind of works, because I guess it's like you're meeting with a very influential figure and it's kind of hard to say no when you live in the city. It's still kind of... did anybody do anything on Thursday? Actually, I know what happened on Thursday. You know.
Yeah, we.
There was discussions on future gaming that you know.
There was.
I will join in these things, and we made some decisions related to that, but I don't always make great decisions, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh yeah.
Anyway. And, I don't anybody do anything for Friday?
Oh, I mean, not tabletop related. We suffered in Rainbow Six Siege a bunch.
Look, I played badly, but that's my normal from now on when I play Siege.
It's your normal all the time. What do you mean?
I've seen your aim. My aim is bad. My aim used to be... I feel like my aim was not great, but it used to be a little better, and I'm just like...
Well, it has been a very long time.
Yeah, so I'm like, man, my aim feels like it's worse than it normally was. And at least was a little better back in the day.
Just play some more of that tomorrow during whatever weird thing you're going to do.
I'm not going to be doing... Joe's game's not until next week, so...
Because we could do just an end of the year hangout, you know?
Yeah.
Play some board games.
I'm literally doing nothing all weekend, and I'm very happy about it.
Yeah.
Anyway. Saturday, today, I played Baldur's Gate. Explored some sewers and saved Minsk. That's about it.
Yeah.
Played Baldur's Gate with Alan Wake, and that's been my week.
Void Train. I've been playing a lot of Void Train. I can tell you guys.
That's a good one. How
is that? How do you like that one? I've looked into it.
I love it. it somehow mixes silly and like intense, and I love it.
Because that's definitely one of those. That was a survival game I've looked at and thought about. Getting into.
And it does kind of keep you feeling like you need more resources. Isn't too bad of a thing. Like I keep feeling like it takes a lot to like do things, which isn't bad. Although it can be kind of annoying when you also have to do those things if you want to do anything decorative. But I also don't have the space yet to do anything decorative, so I'm just kind of meh. But I kind of like how silly it is, where it's like your character literally solves every issue with a hammer.
There's just a little bit of silliness.
Fair.
Fun.
And there's a narrator who's also like, I want to know what this narrator is, because he literally talks directly to you. But he's a narrator. And I'm just like, who is this?
Fun.
And it's still in beta, so it's got a lot of room to grow.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that kind of hits up most of the stuff for this week. If you missed any of my tabletop related content, I'll shout that out quickly before we go. I finished up my Starfinder species guide. That's always been a fun one. I think I said it during my recording / the video. Starfinder is so interesting because like it's compared to Star Trek or Star Wars. They are very willing to go to the weird when it comes to alien creatures that you can play.
I want to play Starfinder one day. Just as a note, if you ever plan a Starfinder game, you just drop me a message.
Yeah, I'll keep it in mind. It is one that I do think I want to maybe visit for a
Starfinder Adventure Path?
There's a couple.
I was playing those Adventure Paths. I probably want to maybe go on like one of the, just an adventure, because that will maybe take like a month or two for an adventure.
Just a short little jaunt, maybe like a level 5 jaunt.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't think I'd want to, because I'd want to wait for like a 2E Adventure Path. I want more.
Well, that's the thing.
I'm a big fan of Pathfinder as it like stands. Like I don't mind like it's just too much.
I have a love and hate relationship with Pathfinder.
Yeah, I feel the same way. So it's like part of me is just all like, I wouldn't want to do like because I know Starfinder 1E is based off Pathfinder 1E. So
I love Pathfinder until there's a 30-minute rule discussion about how like a shield works, and then I get mad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we are going to get Pathfinder 2E or Starfinder 2E, I should say.
Yeah, they got it now.
Yeah.
I think the playtest is starting next year for that.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm just kind of like, I might as well wait another year or two, and then I can run a 2E one. They'll definitely get one out really soon after.
On Thursday, I talked about the Dampires, and Corvosa. So, if you want to be unspoiled about some things that happen at the back end of History of Corvosa, there is a spoiler warning, and I will mention it. You can see like in the Twitch chat that shows up. So, like, there is some stuff related to the end of the story there, but I do talk all about Corvosa and its history and stuff, and how it goes into 2.
Hey, there's a Dampire in your Crimson Queen game that's in Corvosa, Tantus.
I know. I mentioned
weird how that one worked.
And then earlier today, I made my attempts to explain the reality that is the Changeling the Dreaming, and that kind of setting. So I did best I could, I think, on that one. That's a hard one to kind of like explain all the different layers and stuff. I hope it ended up being educational. So, all right, everybody out there, I hope you will have a fine rest of your day. I think we've reached that point in time to say that. Thank you, Momo, for both of you for joining me. I'll be back next week, and some of these folks might be too, if schedules permit it. And then
see you next year.
Yeah, it'll be next year technically. And
but I can't believe it'll have been a year since I've seen all you chat.
There'll definitely be some things for me on Monday, but the full details of whatever I'm doing we'll figure out going forward. And the week should be there, and I'll experiment with a few other stuff on the schedule and let people know what's going on. We'll see post Monday what the New Year's schedule will be. Definitely expect Crimson Green talking about some tabletop stuff and more discussing tabletop. So, hey everybody, I hope you do have a great rest of your Saturday. Enjoy your new year, and we'll see you next year. And, have a good year. Until the next time we see each other, farewell, goodbye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.